if we were starting a new segment, calls from the combine today, anybody combining because it's harvest, we're going to put you to the front of the line. But I said call, don't text, because I know if texting and driving in a car is dangerous, what about texting and driving in a combine? Then Mike texted in and said a combine has auto steer and GPS so farmers can text while driving in the field. Things you learn on the SportsCage, Dave.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised that you didn't know that.
Oh, like you did. You knew that a combine had auto steer and GPS.
100%. Absolutely. That's one of those many things that I was never allowed to touch when I was anywhere near any kind of farm implement. Dave, the big grain truck is yours. So that's the lineage of the Dave Thomas experience on the farm, because nobody wants me dealing with technology. I can barely turn on my laptop at the best of times. So operating $1 million combine, not a chance in you know what.
I smell a sales opportunity here. Now, maybe, listen, I got a lot of ideas floating around right now, Pilsner Cup, all this. Maybe there's somehow, some way, maybe not this year, but maybe next year for harvest, that we get Dave Thomas, maybe Coach Mace in the combine. They'll come and do a custom harvest situation with you. It's like celebrity harvesting. We can do Dancing with the Stars. What about celebrity harvest? Dave Thomas, Ryder, you name it. Colson, open that black book of yours. Fresh page. Yeah. This is a hot idea. All right. It was day 2 of practice today. Riders back on the field as we get ready for Edmonton. Just thoughts. What was going on at Mosaic?
Focus, a lot of focus, to tell you the truth, because the Roughriders kind of masked over yesterday the way that they went into the bye week, and they were ticked off. To a man, they were ticked off after losing that game to Montreal and how they lost to Montreal. So the pads were on yesterday. They were popping. There was a lot that was going on. Today, it was much more focused and much more oriented towards, let's make sure that we aren't going to make any mistakes like that again. So there was some extensive work done with the defensive secondary. Tavon Campbell did not take the field again. We learned a little bit of an update on his status, which we'll get to in a little bit. Offensively, Samuel Emelis was taking way more first-team reps than what he did the day before, so it might have been in day 1. He's testing it out day 2. He understands what he can and can't do and how that leg is feeling, so he went ahead and he took another big step forward. We didn't see on the offensive line Zach Fry once again, so it looks like Daniel Johnson is going to get a start at left guard, so that still does, if you're counting at home, leave our offensive lineman count at 9 thus far this year. The fortunate part is when we've had an injury, we've just been able to bring somebody back in. So Daniel Johnson, who did start at left tackle, will move to left guard by the looks of things right now, as Zach Fry didn't take a snap. And I think the good thing that kind of flew under the radar yesterday is I completely missed it. I didn't see Philippe Gagnon. He hasn't been on the field wearing his number 53 since day 3 of training camp. And he's fought back from that arm injury. He was out there. He wasn't doing much as far as the individual drills go, but he was there. He had pads on. He had a helmet. He was looking pretty excited just to be back around the guys.
When I look at the top of that injury list, and he's been on there for a long time, Sean Bain Jr. patiently waiting, biding his time to get on, maybe do his thing. Now, in the first week or two, but now that the weeks have gone on, if it was me as Sean Bain Jr., I'd probably start to be losing it a little. You want to be a good team guy, but there's got to be a lot of anxiety there of, am I going to see the field this year?
Again, and that's you and I. That's the anxiety that we probably have. We'd probably have a lot of frustration that is mounted, but I think that speaks a lot to Sean Bain Jr.'s character, because I've actually been watching him the last couple of days just to kind of see what his demeanor is like, see what's going on, and see if you can get into his mind, right? And I give Sean Bain Jr. as a human being full marks, because this is not an easy situation, battling back from injury like he did. And again, for all intents and purposes, I think that he probably could step into the lineup, but what Sean Bain Jr. has done, and like I say, that I think this speaks to him as a person, is the fact that he is mentoring other guys. Like, he's talking with Dre McCray. He's having conversations with Del Duncan Busby. He's sharing what he knows. And to me, that is the consummate teammate, but it also shows you what's happening in that dressing room, because everyone has put team above themselves, and Sean Bain Jr. is a prime example because we've seen what he can do, but again, he's just waiting his time for his opportunity to make that happen.
Do we want to go to the Coach Mace audio here? So you had a chance to catch up with Coach Mace after practice today. No shortage of things to talk about here. I'll let you take it from here with what Coach had to say.
All right, well, let's start with the injury updates. And I did mention again that Tavon Campbell was not on the field today. Benny Sapp was taking his spot on the corner. So we did start by asking Coach Mace what the extent of the injury or what the length of the injury might be to Tavon Campbell.
Yeah, I think maybe a week or two, man. If I'm being honest with you, but he's definitely around, he's tuned in, and all that stuff. But we'll just be smart with it.
And I tell you, Colson doing a bang-up job as I'm jumping around here a little bit. But the one good news thing that we brought and talked about already, Maz, was Philippe Gagnon was back out on the field, and he's been smiling ear to ear, and you can see that, and you could also hear that when I asked Coach about him today.
Oh, man, excellent. Obviously, unfortunately, during training camp, to have that injury, was really tough for him. But he made it very clear from that day he wasn't going, back east. He's staying here. He wants to be with the team and be with his brothers and attack rehab like crazy. And he said he was going to be back, and man of his word. It's awesome. It's just awesome for him. I love to see that he gets to be out there with us.
Now, Maz, you must have been reading my mind because, again, it was a more focused mood in my opinion, but I did ask Coach what his opinion on what he felt the mood was around the Roughriders practice and dressing room right now, returning from the bye.
Yeah, no, I think we're in a good space. I think mentally, I think during before going into the bye, people were pissed off. But you love that, you know what I mean? It's because of the expectations of themselves, and when you don't meet that, that's a hard pill to swallow. But they do know, like we've been to this point, like you get another opportunity to fix that. So the morale is high, and they just keep working, man. So that's a culture that we've built, and they live by that.
Now, to go back to our farming analogy, if you ever saw the movie Son-in-Law, you'll know that Kral had a bad day, right, during harvest when he took that swather across the field, right? And everybody can have a bad day. Pauly Shore, yeah, thank you.
I love the fact we're referencing Pauly Shore's Son-in-Law because, to me, great movie. Great. Colson has no idea what we just said. But, yeah, I'm just going to think about Son-in-Law. There was some great scenes. Dave, keep going. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, though, that anybody can have a bad day and everybody has a day. So pose to the coach the question, games like that with Montreal, like everybody has a bad day, and it's going to happen from time to time, especially in the game of football when both teams are paid to make plays. And we asked him if he bought into that.
Yeah, they do. They still suck to go through it, and especially ones where you didn't make it any easier on yourself. And sometimes that's a mental lapse. It has nothing to do with who's out there. It's a mental lapse of some stuff. So those suck, right? But I don't want to say it's a wake-up call, but it's just a subtle reminder, like, this is professional football. I don't care what team you're playing. You got to be as close to perfect as possible to come out with a win. And those guys, they take that seriously.
Now, full disclosure, I will be having supper with Coach Mace tonight, as we're both going to be attending the Banquet of Champions, the Regina Thunder event that is happening over at the Connexus Arts Center. It's going to be a fantastic evening, and I just asked him what he thought, a message that he could send out there, or maybe a preview that he could give folks when it comes to everyone that will be attending the Regina Thunder or thinking about it tonight.
Yeah, get a ticket. Come on, man. It's always now. I don't know. It's Drew with me, so it's not Mueller. So I don't know if it's going to be as funny. But no, I'm joking. No, it's really pleased and grateful to be a part of that, man. It's just another example of what football means in this province, and to be invited to that, I'm grateful for that. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's probably free food, so I'm always in.
So, Coach Mace,
that's what, I thought your hard-hitting question was
Andrew Harris. Yeah.
I thought your hard-hitting question was, hey, Coach, what do you think is going to be on the buffet tonight at the Thunder dinner? Because we were there last year. It was great. They had a nice spread. There was a long line for the roast beef. Like, it was, I remember, because the nice young lady she cut a slice and put it on. I'm like, yeah, you can keep going, because the guy ahead of me, he kept going. He goes, you see me? That won't fill a guy like me up. So just keep going. He goes, I may tire your arm out cutting that roast beef. And by the time I got up there, I'm like, yeah, exactly what that guy said. Exactly what that guy said. Just keep on trucking. Are you black tying this? You got a tux picked out? What are we wearing tonight to the Thunder dinner day? Are we going business cash, full formal?
Aaron
Western
from Colin
chic,
O'Brien's Man Shop has got me ready to roll.
Dave, it is harvest. Maybe you go denim tuxedo, head to toe. We do a black cowboy hat because it is fall, so we can wear black. We can take the white. We go denim shirt, jean jacket, jeans, boot, the Supreme buckle, and then go from there. And speaking of Saturday in the Elks, without a doubt, Jordan Maximic, that run game is going to be coming at us. It's a two-headed and sometimes three-headed monster when you throw Fajardo in the mix there. Can you see, even if they don't have success early, can you see them not abandoning the run game? It's going to be there all four quarters.
See, and I would expect that, but I'm not going to kid you. The Labor Day Classic actually threw me through a loop, because when you look at Winnipeg Blue Bombers and they've got Brady Oliveira, like, why are you only running the ball 5 times? Like, I don't know why Winnipeg gave up on it. And let's face it, the Roughriders have the mystique when they come in. You look, they've got the best running defense in the league. They give up the fewest yards. The list goes on and on. But again, if I was to attack it and if I was to try to exploit what I've seen from the Roughriders, is the fact that Saskatchewan, if they don't make you one-dimensional, you're going to have some success. That's what Montreal was able to do. That's what Calgary was able to do twice. So, yeah, I don't want to say, oh, yeah, they'll have to do that or guarantee anything, but I would think logically that the Roughriders are going to get a healthy dose of that running game from the Edmonton Elks, which I think is what makes them successful, is the fact that they've gone ahead and recommitted to it since they went ahead and benched Trey Ford.
If Sam Emilus plays, do you expect Tyrell Ford to be the main defender covering him? You can't. And listen, there's some good options on the Riders receiving core, but if you got to pick one, and the Elks got a high price guy in their backfield, that would be my choice.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Like, pick your poison. Do you want Dante Myers slashing through the middle unstopped? Do you want Keyshawn Johnson, Mr. Second Down, who's in the top 5 in receiving in the Canadian Football League? Again, he has been the quietest, best receiver, if you will, in the Canadian Football League all season long. Like, I don't know, pick your poison and let Trevor Harris decide where the ball is going to go. But yeah, Sam Emilus obviously has a lot of trust from Trevor Harris, and you'd expect him to have a prominent role. But I also expect that if the Elks want to go ahead and take Samuel Emilus away, the Riders are okay with that, because they'll throw the ball to Keyshawn or to Dante Myers or Joe Robustelli or even a Joe who's getting tons of reps right now. So that would be the logical case for me.
On the Tyrell Ford front, over these past 6 weeks, to me, he started earning his paycheck. Not that he's not played, but you can see why he was a very highly sought after free agent. He's a very talented football player. In the past 6 weeks, he's really looked like it. He's Milligan-esque back there, where you got to worry about where he is, because he's got such good range that he can be somewhere and nowhere in no amount of time.
Well, and I know that he won't say this, but he's got to be thanking Cody Fajardo for his success. Because when your offense, let's spin when your defense isn't on the field 35 to 38 minutes a game, and your offense is having some sustained success and able to go ahead and move the football and give you a bit of a breather on the sideline, that's break number one. I think the second key point is that J.C. Sherritt came in with a brand new defense that no one had played before, right? It was brand new to Edmonton. There wasn't any carryover, any residual effect from the former regime. So J.C. Sherritt came in and did things the way that he wanted to do. And it was a bit of a slow start for the defense, but now I think they're clicking because of that familiarity and the chemistry that they're starting to build with 1-1. Now, they are a banged up group up front on the defensive line, but that defense is much better, and I think that they're benefiting from the time that the offense is spending on the field and the familiarity that they're getting with their defensive scheme.
We saw this last year with Coach Mace, and you were closer to it than anybody else. Brand new head coach, brand new football team. You mentioned J.C. Sherritt. I think we're getting to that point, too. I think a lot of the players on the Elks are getting used to Mark Killam as the head coach, and that's starting to work a little bit now, too, because it was just so much new to start the season, and you kind of knew they would be behind the eight ball because everything changed.
Well, and that's what makes this game really intriguing to me, because when you mention Mark Killam, right, the players absolutely love him, right? You saw the great messages that were sent his way when he was hired in Edmonton, and that continues as part of the culture that they are building right now in Edmonton. And let's face it, no player wants to let their head coach down when they've got that much invested in the man that is their head coach. And the Elks are coming off of not one, but two consecutive walk-off losses where they've had the game in hand and couldn't hold it. So to me, this is, I kind of think it's a do or die game as far as their playoff hopes, if that bus hasn't already left the station. But I think that this is going to be a true character test. Because can this team come out, and if something bad happens, a fumble or a turnover or an early score, if something bad happens, do they have the character to come back? And I think that they do. And I think that this is going to prove it, because they're going to be in full desperation mode, I'm sure, coming in on Saturday.
That bus that left the station, is that one of those new electric buses that the city of Regina is buying? I'm just checking. Anyways, Calgary at Montreal on Friday. To me, if Davis Alexander is going to be back for the Alouettes, that's a pretty much full complement Alouette team. Looking good, looking dangerous, starting to get hot, peaking at the right time. To me, I think Calgary, this is a must win for them. Vernon Adams has to play well. He has to stay on the field. Got to stay in the game. And they got to go play in a tough place where getting wins isn't easy. But Calgary's don't blow a great start by falling apart in the second half here, because they haven't looked good in the past month.
I don't think that the sky is falling in Calgary. I think they may have lost their identity a little bit, as they're not running Dietrich Mills near as often as they had at the start of the year, and being able to be that two-headed monster, if you will, with the run and pass game on offense. As far as the Montreal Alouettes are concerned, if I'm Jason Moss, I go home at night, and I get home after that game against Saskatchewan in particular with McLeod Bethel Thompson, right? And you know that Davis Alexander, he was working out hard on the turf at Mosaic Stadium before the game. So you knew it was only going to be a matter of time. And the word out of Montreal was he could have potentially played then, but they were going to give him another week. He could have potentially played against Toronto, but they thought, let's even give him another week so that he doesn't get injured again. So to me, if I'm Jason Moss, I'm like, man, McLeod, we kind of needed this back in July. Like, we'd have run away with the East Division if you were coming and playing how you should have. Now, granted, he did end up injured, but now it's like, now I've got to make a decision. Do I ride your hot hand, or do I bring in Davis Alexander, who's been sidelined for all but, 2 games this season? So, like I said, Jason Moss just got to be thinking, what in the world do I have to do now?
The garbage man, Nathan Rourke, and the BC Lions, Toronto, on the road. With what the Lions did last week to the Stampeders, advantage BC. I just think they're scoring at will, and they're scoring fast. They're moving the field in a couple of plays. They're taking advantages of turnovers. They're just being opportunists. Dave, early in the season, remember when the Riders were there? It seemed within the first 6 or 7 minutes, the Lions made so many mistakes to do themselves in. The Riders were up 20-0. I'm like, all right. Game over, Riders. You guys are not coming back from this. They're not making those mistakes anymore. They're the ones that are capitalizing.
I'm very hesitant to say this, but the BC Lions defense might have figured it out. Like, Mike Benavides, again, he's not a dum-dum, right? I never thought that he was, but he is coming in, and of course the previous defensive coordinator is still helping him coach. He's just not calling any of the defensive schemes. So that's got to be a dynamic that had to be overcome early, I think. And now that the BC Lions seemingly have found a pass rush, that's dangerous, because now that they're making teams uncomfortable offensively, which I don't think they consistently did through the start of the season. Now, again, right, proof is in the pudding. It was a great game against Calgary. Can they duplicate it? And that's the thing, right? Is it repeatable? Can you do that again? That's what we're going to have to wait and see from the BC Lions. But again, the offense has been stellar. Offense has been lights out. The offense has to play near perfect in order for them to win. But now that they're getting some support on the defensive side of the ball, they're a scary team.
Yeah, I really noticed that last week. Matthew Betts taking over games like he did before he went down to the NFL. And there's always that adjustment period when they come back. I'm like, oh, that's the Matthew Betts that we remember. There's the guy that's wrecking offensive game plans. And when he's going, it seems that everybody else gets going. So, hey, I agree with you. They may have figured it out. And when your offense can put up 50 points, you sometimes don't have to play that much defense. Hamilton's at Winnipeg. Last Friday, we talked about this. Winnipeg was eventually going to have to just go on emotion and just gut one out. And it was gutsy. 3 completed passes for 54 yards. It was not pretty. That was not a game you would, if you were Stuart Johnson going to sell the game somewhere, to be like, look at this. That's not a resume tape, but they got it done. Hamilton at Winnipeg. Hamilton at home, I think, is one team. Hamilton on the road is a little more suspect. Can the shake and bake type Winnipeg Blue Bombers running the ball 60 to 70 times win on Saturday against Bo, who's going to throw it probably 35 times?
Okay, I'm not going to give out my home address because I'll be kicked out of Riderville. But again, I know how critical you were of Winnipeg winning that game in Ottawa last week. But the old cliche is so true. Good teams find ways to win. And if you can find a way to win that football game with throwing for less than 60 yards passing, you're a good football team. And if you get your quarterback back, even though your offensive core is banged up, that says a lot about your team. And again, that shows the championship caliber that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been playing at the last 5 years to find their way to the Grain Cup by winning the West Division. So don't count out Winnipeg on that. By the way, did you notice that Nick Dembski's consecutive reception streak came to an end in that game? Like, yeah. I felt terrible. I thought, shovel it under to him or something. Like, you're cheering for him. And conversely, with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you know what? You're right. They are a different animal on the road and at home. And this road trip, I think, is a defining one for them. If they can come up with a win in Winnipeg, they show they're legit Grey Cup contenders, not just East Division contenders. And I'm really excited to see how this game is going to play out at Princess Auto Stadium.
I want to clarify my comments. I am glad that Winnipeg won that football game, because they gutted it out. They did exactly like you said, championship team. They found a way to win. It's the Ottawa on the other side to be like, you let that happen. You pass for 400 yards. They pass for, and you still lose. That you said, I relegate them to the CIS. Let them think about their actions. Maybe we'll let you back in, because you had no business winning that football game. No business winning that football game.
You know, Winnipeg didn't beat them in that game. The team that won that game was the Ottawa Redblacks. It's unfortunate, though, that they beat themselves. That's how they won, because they just couldn't hang on to the football and stop making mistakes.
That's why you can't trust Ottawa. They need to go on a 9-game win streak, but until then, you cannot be trusted. All right, Dave Thomas, your broadcast partner, Luke Mullender, is coming up just after 5. Is Luke going to the Thunder dinner tonight? Are you saving him a spot? Are you going to have to be the guy that picks up the extra plate because you're the good buddy? If he's, got to do the radio and then scoot down, you do a double buffet plate action at Connexus tonight for the Thunder dinner?
See, Luke is a wise man. He doesn't share his social calendar with me, which is probably a pretty good thing for all parties involved. All right. I do know that we are getting ready for a fun trip to Edmonton, because it's going to be a good game at Commonwealth on Saturday.
All right, safe travels. Dave Thomas, voice of the Riders.